free and probiotic fractions in every dropper. Layer by layer, strengthen the skin barrier. Advanced Genifique Serum, Lancôme.
All right, brothers and sisters, we're going to be starting the show. I'm actually waiting for two guests, and that's why I got set up with me on the end like this. And I know they'll be here in a moment. The traffic is a little bit thick in this area, so I'm sure they are just a little bit too late because of the traffic. But until they get here, let me move around so I'm not sitting on the edge like that. Until they get here, let me let you know that I did make it safely to Mutare, Zimbabwe. I'm sorry, to Harare, Zimbabwe. I'm here now. And it was a wonderful flight and had no problems going. And from Indianapolis to Chicago, and then from Chicago here to Zimbabwe. And so I'm excited about being here. And we'll talk a little bit about that as we go forward. I really wish my guests were here. I know they're going to be here shortly. But I want to give this to you as an opportunity to ask questions. If you need to have some sense of what it is that Nikkei is doing all the way over there in Zimbabwe, then I want to talk about that. And whatever it is, we want to talk about. Some of you may even be considering moving out of the country, you're in, and moving somewhere else. Maybe you'll consider moving to Africa. Maybe you'll consider moving to Zimbabwe. But either way, we want to hear your thoughts about that. And even what did you think about that Nikkei moving to Zimbabwe and the things that I'll be doing? I'm going to give, again, another description, a breakdown of what it is I'm going to be doing over these next few months and answer some of your questions. There were so many questions that many of you asked that were repeated questions, frequently asked questions. And so I took the time a couple of days ago to answer some of those questions, and I might do that again too until our guest comes. Let me turn this over here so that if you ask questions even now on Facebook, you can do that, and I will respond to those questions. I am live right now also on YouTube and Zoom. The link is, I believe it's right at the top of my page now on Facebook. So if you want to join us on Facebook, if you want to join into the Zoom room, you can hit that link and join in that way. You can type in questions here on Facebook if you have questions. And I'm a little bit far from the computer that's doing Zoom, so I won't try to do the text that are going to be on, if there are any texts that show up on YouTube. But I always like to set up YouTube because to me it gives a better image and a better sound. And today I'm not using the microphone that I usually use for YouTube, which makes the sound a lot better. But I'm hoping still the sound is good on both. We're really on all three. And so I'm looking for you. I see a couple of people chiming in on Facebook. And again, I don't want to miss those comments. I want to get to those. I want to invite you to join in in the Zoom room. The Zoom link is at the top of my Facebook page. And if you like, you can join us on YouTube Live right now. Now, I just jumped right in here and started talking, and some of you might not even know who I am. My name is James Anike, and I am the host of Soul Liberation Station. This is the 7th year for Soul Liberation Station. It used to be Soul Liberation Radio, now it's Soul Liberation Station. And so this is the 7th year of it, and now making this new move, being here on the continent of Africa, and we'll be coming to you each week at this time. Right now it's 6 o'clock, 6 p.m. Zimbabwe time, and noon Eastern time, which means it's also 11 o'clock in the morning there in Chicago in the Eastern time zone. So we'll be coming to you every week with information. And in fact, I know I got a guest for next week. I wrote it down. I have to make sure I begin to promote that early this week so you can all get that. All right. Got comments coming in, and I'm glad to see those who are glad right along with me that I made it here safely. And it really was a smooth trip. Even at the airport, the lines were long. Now, that's the only thing that took a long time. So it was a line long to get the visa. Then there was a line to show that you had your COVID vaccine, and then there was another line just so they can go through your luggage and make sure you don't have anything that a duty could be charged on those items. So I have a lot of luggage, and so all of those things took a little bit long, but all of those things went well. I was glad about that. And my friends, who I hope you'll meet shortly, because they should be on their way, met me at the airport and took me around a little bit and showed me some things I may not have seen and fed me. They fed me real good. All right, I need some good Zimbabwean food for my first meal coming into Zimbabwe, and I'm glad about that. Yeah, okay, so let me just say a few more things. This is my third time visiting Zimbabwe. Some of you have asked that question, and some people asked the question, why did I choose Zimbabwe? And specifically Mutare, Zimbabwe. And right now I'm in Harare. I'll be in Mutare soon. And that's where I'm going to live. And the reason why I chose Zimbabwe and chose Mutare is because that's where Africa University is. Africa University just celebrated its 30th anniversary. It is a stellar institution, not just in Zimbabwe, but for the whole continent of Africa and the world. These students at Africa University are having a profound impact on the continent of Africa. And so I was just so impressed with them during my last visit. I said, well, I need to connect to this institution and be a part of this great African University effort. In fact, it just started its first PhD program. It's had master's programs, I think, for many years now, and of course, its bachelor's programs. There are roughly 27 to 29 countries, African countries, represented in the student body of Africa University. And these students over the years have come out, and they have just, as I said, have had a profound impact on the continent. And so I'm looking forward to doing my part. I have some ideas of what classes I would like to teach, and I'm going to be making some proposals to the institution and see if I can do that. But if they decide, Anike, we just want you to sweep the courtyard, I'm going to be a courtyard sweeping brother with a smile on my face at Africa University. So that's where I stand right now. And so that's one thing. You might also want to know about the financial situations. Things are pretty much here as they are in other places now. The dollar obviously is worth far more. If I remember correctly, I'm going to say it's like 300 Zim dollars to $1 US. And of course, the money's, the dollar is a key currency here, right along with the Zim dollar and the South African pound. I'm sorry. Right, no, the British pound, They don't use the South African dollar here, but they do use the British pound, US dollars, and the Zimbabwean dollars, which are called the Zims. And so you just kind of, work your way through whatever works best for you, sharing your currency and sharing your income to help support the businesses and provide for yourself those products that you need. Right here, so it's real simple, it's not that complex. I saw a sign, I saw at the gas station, that gas was $1, I want to say it said $1.51. And I jumped right on that, I'm like, wait a minute, the gas is $1.51 here? And the sister told me, well, that's in meters, I think, I forgot whatever the measurement is. I want to say it's meters, or, no, it wasn't meters. Millimeters, I can't remember, but it's the metric system. So you are paying $1 US, but you're paying for a smaller portion than what we would pay for in a gallon. It's almost like 1 gallon is equal to 5, whatever the metric is. And I'm sure such brilliant people on Facebook and all these other mediums, you all can tell me what that is probably quicker than I can figure it out in my head. And I'm going to go to some of these comments. I'm so thankful for those who are celebrating again that I made it here. Brother Philip in the Chicago area, who is my brother. That's my brother. All right. I mean, blood brother. You can't put the same mom and dad. He's saying the signal is great. And I'm glad to hear that because I'm sure some of you were wondering whether or not we would have good internet. And so Zimbabwe does have, you can find good internet. And the hotel that I'm staying in it provides good internet, and I'm thankful for that. And I'm thankful for all of you who are watching, those of you who are celebrating. And Sister Felicia and Gary asks, did I make it here? Yes, I made it here. I'm here. I'm right here in Harare, Zimbabwe. And leaders, thank you, Phil. And it's leaders. So 5 liters make up about 1 gallon. So you're paying only $1.50 for 1 liter, which means it's actually more you're paying for gas here than you would be in the United States, unless you live in California. So what they're paying for gas in California is about the same as what they're paying for gas here in Zimbabwe. All right, so I'm glad all of you all are watching. I hope you have some questions, some comments, some insights. As I was making my way here, flying in the plane and being amongst the people there, I don't know what their purposes for traveling were, but it was good to be, in this plane. And I'm not saying, other folk, shouldn't be on the plane. I'm just simply saying it's good to be around your people, all traveling to the same destination. Right? Let's use that as a metaphor for what we ought to be doing as a people. But it was just beautiful to have that sight. I flew Ethiopian Air. I like Ethiopian Air. It's based in Ethiopia, obviously. The hub is in Addis Ababa, so that was the only stop that I had to make in my journey coming over here. Is we stopped in Addis, and I'm basically connected right on with my next flight. Right after I got off the first flight from Chicago, and then flew on to Zimbabwe. Arrived here, what would be considered 1 o'clock, or just a little bit before 1 o'clock Zimbabwe time, and about about 6 o'clock Eastern time, or maybe let me take that back, 6 o'clock Central time, 9 o'clock Eastern time is the time that I got here. And I slept well on the plane, and my spirit was just high already anyway. And as you can see, I did get a couple of chances in my travels to tap into the internet. When I stopped in the airport in Ethiopia, I was able to get online for a few minutes as we rushed to the next plane. And now I'm here in Zimbabwe. Some people are right now thinking, that right, he in some hotel in Chicago doing this thing. No, I'm in Zimbabwe. I'm a week here. And one of the things I'm going to be doing this week is kind of taking you along with me. I have some pictures that I took as I was traveling, and I'll post those. I didn't take enough pictures, I'll admit that. And it's dark here now in Zimbabwe. The sun goes down a little bit early here. So it's just after 7 here, and the sun is down. And the street is full. I'm in a part of Harare that is very active with people. And life is going to be good here. My spirit, I'm one of those people who works by confirmations and how my spirit feels, and this everything, leading up to this trip, other than the delays, everything's worked out wonderfully, and even the delays were not a problem. My intent was to actually leave August 4th, but I didn't get to leave until October 27th, as you know. And even those delays worked in my favor, because there's some things that I got a chance to do that I didn't get a chance to do when I was, if I would have left early. So I'm glad that took place, and I'm super excited for all of you who supported this effort financially, who gave me gifts so that I could get on the plane, so that I could get here. And some people may say, well, man, you're already there. I'm sure you don't need no more money. The devil is a liar. I can use all that I can get, because the two main things that I want to do, I want to get a car as quickly as possible. And I found some good deals already, even just searching the internet. And I do want to get rent a space, apartment, a house, whatever the case may be, as soon as possible, because I want to be stable, get all my stuff unpacked, and get back to work on the Kitabu Cha Imani Bible that I'm publishing. I want to get that thing done on time, and so the quicker I can get situated and not have to be hopping around, the quicker I can finish the Bible, and you all can have that Bible. It's going to be powerful. And that leads to another reason why I have decided to come here. And you may not know the history, but the Bible is actually African-based. When you talk about the Old Testament, the Septuagint was actually written in Africa, in Alexandria, Egypt. And when you talk about the New Testament, the primary the primary manuscripts that are used for our Bibles today, regardless of what version you're talking about, were all based from an African origin. All of them. Let that roll around in your brain for a minute. And when I say all of them, I'm talking about the three main ones that had all of the books of the New Testament, Matthew through Revelation. And so to be here and present and develop this Kitabu Chai Book of Faith Bible here on the continent was just a must. It has to be. So I'm going to go back to my phone. I'm looking for your questions. Please type in some questions. Again, if anybody would like to join me on Zoom, you can do that. And I'm hoping that somebody's there with us on YouTube. So, are there any other questions? The question is, what type of food did I eat? Now, she made, this is Sister Grace, one of my classmates from seminary, made some chicken. It was a baked chicken. And chicken, I noticed this the other times I was here in Zimbabwe. The texture of the chicken in Zimbabwe, and in fact, check this out, and in Egypt, so I don't know, this might be a whole African thing, is different from the texture of chicken in America. Now, I don't know I'm not sure what the reason why, but I suspect the reason why is because they allow the chicken to mature naturally in Africa. So what we eat, when we eat chicken in America, we are literally eating baby chickens pumped full of hormones. I don't know if you knew that or not. And so that might be a reason why we just, the texture, who knows, whatever other genetic manipulations, that's probably a scary word, have been used to make the chicken so plump and soft, if you will. But check this out. It's good here, just as good as it's good there. And there are Kentucky Fried Chicken restaurants here. Go figure. So yes, I had the chicken, the baked chicken. We had a rice with sort of a stew, an African stew, very unique taste on it. And they have vegetables that they've grown in their own garden. So I had a mixed vegetables and fruit. Which was, again, I don't know what the dressing was, but it was all very good. And I'm so glad my first meal in Zimbabwe was this meal prepared in an African home for what my sister called her brother coming home. I'm thankful for that. All right. And the question, how was first? All right, bro, Phil, you got to be kidding. But Phil asks, how was first class? I'm assuming that means flying in the airplane. It looks like the folk in first class were mighty comfortable. Plenty of room up there, and you know they closed their curtains, so you can't see what's going on up there. But from where I was sitting, it looks like first class was all right. And certainly the thought crossed my mind, boy, I need to learn how to earn some money so I can fly first class from now on. I'll tell you this though, they did offer me an opportunity to upgrade to first class, but truth be told, I just couldn't afford it. And I didn't want to come in spending more than I had to, because my luggage, oh my goodness, because my luggage was overweight, and I knew it would be, I ended up paying nearly $500 just for the luggage itself in the state that it was in. So I think first class might have been fine up there. I just didn't get a chance to enjoy it. Question about jet lags. Sister Martha in Indianapolis asked this question. I don't feel it yet, but I did do this. As I was flying, I'm calculating in my mind what time it is in Chicago or in Indianapolis, Atlanta, what time it is in Zimbabwe, and what time it is as we travel. And I sort of kind of slept according to what I thought would provide me the best energy that I could have coming into Zimbabwe. And so when we got off the plane in Ethiopia, that would have been about 11:30 midnight Chicago, in that time frame. Um, and so I'd already had a good little sleep, towards the end of that journey. And as I said, we rushed and got to the next plane. And so the plane from Ethiopia, from Addis Ababa to Harare, Zimbabwe, was about 4 hours long. And I pretty much slept through that whole flight, which meant that when we arrived in Zimbabwe, I was actually waking up pretty much the same time I wake up every day. I generally wake up at 5 or 6 in the morning. Sometimes if I've been up extra late, then I may wake up at 7. Now that's in the Eastern time zone. But my waking up was very consistent on that plane, very consistent with the time I would normally wake up. So we arrived here, as I said, close to 1 o'clock Zimbabwe time. And so I don't feel any exhaustion, any tiredness. And I'm going to go to sleep about the same time I would normally go to sleep in America. And I'm hoping that, I can stay up that long, considering how late. Well, no, actually, that would be late here. That would be still early there in the States. So, but to answer your question, no, I don't feel any jet lag. All right. Greetings. Brother Phil asked, what type of system is there to mail and send you things? Oh, I like that question. There's DHL. In fact, there's a DHL right outside my window here in the hotel on Samora Michelle Street. So DHL, I'm told, is one of the best prices to ship something, but I was checking their prices, DHL, to determine if I wanted to ship some things here. And it was way more for me to ship things by DHL. And I checked a couple other companies, they were just all very high, more so than me paying the $500 I paid to bring all my stuff with the extra weight. So anyway, to answer your question, you might want to explore DHL. I'm still told that's the best one. You can send by international mail from the U.S. Postal Service. Again, I don't know what the prices are if you want to send small packages and things of that nature. I know that you can do that, and they'll get to me here in Zimbabwe. I do have an address that you can send to even now, so if you want that, let me know. But it won't be my permanent address. My permanent address will, I hope, be in Butare, Zimbabwe. So, now, of course, when we're talking about money, you can continue to use Zelle, Cash App, PayPal, and those kinds of ways of sending support will be helpful. And I'm thankful that I have published books to the degree and at the level that has really helped this effort. Most of you know I stopped receiving paychecks in July. The last check I got was at the end of June. And so everything that I've generated was because of your gifts, your giving, and publishing books and selling books. And so I'm anticipating that I'll continue to do well publishing books. In fact, I have 2 books, 2 or 3, that are back from the printer to the author's hands right now. At least 2 I know for sure. One of them might be coming on Monday. And I'm hoping these authors won't mind me saying their name because I'm about to say them. So I published Brother Taron Muhammad's book. He should have his books today from the printer. Published Sister Ahaya Davies. Her book, I believe, if it didn't come today, it'll come on Monday from the printer. And Brother Bishop Julius Trimble, my bishop. I just published his book. So his books came to him today. And if you want to get Bishop's book, it's a wonderful book on why he's a Methodist. Really good information in it. Something I know you, especially you Methodists, really want to read. And even if you're not a Methodist, you will really appreciate his insights and his thoughts about why he is in the church. So I think that answers that. But that might lead to another question in your mind, and that is, will I still be able to publish your book from Zimbabwe? And the question is, without a doubt, yes. It is so easy for me to do it. I have a wonderful printer that I generally use in the United States. And I'm exploring a printer here in Zimbabwe for those books that I published here locally. I haven't published any here on the continent yet, but after I get everything straight and the visas and everything correct, I anticipate really setting up a major office. But right now, if you're interested in having your book published, just reach out to me and we'll get it done. We can even get it done in 10 days, as I've often promised. All right. I don't see any other questions unless I missed some, so keep sending them all in. I'm so sorry that our guests didn't make it yet. And at this point, as I said, the traffic was bad, and I know they had some other responsibilities before they came back. They dropped me off here at the hotel and they were coming back. And so I'm assuming either their responsibilities got them tied up, or as I said, the traffic here is really thick. And so they may have gotten kind of caught in traffic. But I'm glad, I'm more excited than I can tell you. Again, one of the other questions that keeps coming up is, Dr. Dike, how long are you going to be in Zimbabwe? And the answer to that is, I at least anticipate being here for 4 years, or want to be here for 4 years. But my real expectation, brothers and sisters, is that this is it. This is where I'm going to live for the rest of my life. That's what I want. And I just need to make sure that's in line with God's plan. I know it was in line with God's plan for me to come here. And I asked the Lord, in fact, this has been a part of my 10-year plan for some time, for 3 or 4 years to be here. And I'm going to continue to pray over these next few years that the Lord will certainly make this my permanent place of living. I'll continue to come to America every summer. I'll be coming back probably towards the end of May, in through July. I want to come because I am still an elder in the United Methodist Church that's on leave. I'm on leave from pastoral ministry. And I do want to attend our annual conference because there's a lot going on in the church, and I certainly want to be available to be informed, but also participate. So I'll be coming back the end of May to participate in the annual conference. And then my family reunion is at the end of July. So I want to be here for that also at the end of July, and the Omega Psi Phi conclave is in July, and I definitely want to be here for that. So those are that's the time frame you can expect for my being in the States and my being here. And I anticipate being ready to begin to receive guests in January of this year. I believe I'll be settled where I'm going to be living, and we'll be ready to receive guests. And I'm going to schedule that. You can't just show up and say, "Hey, Anike, I'm here," because I got things to do. So I'm hoping you'll understand. I'm going to suggest these particular time frames as for when you can just come personally to visit and spend time here in Zimbabwe. But the other thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to try to do this very soon, is establish the time that I want to do a tour here. At this point, I'm anticipating it will be in August of 2023. Well, no, that's not right. Excuse me. Maybe that is right. Maybe early August of 2023 might be the time that I'll do the first tour. But again, I'm going to look at that date and look at what I need to do over the next few months and make a decision. My plan is to do one tour next year in 2023 here to Zimbabwe, and then the following years or the years after that, I'll do two tours each year, one to Zimbabwe and one to another African country. It might be South Africa, it might be Ghana, it might be Uganda, it might be, wherever. Ethiopia is one of the countries I really want to visit for a number of reasons. And so that might be one of the places we go early on in organizing these tours in 2024. So just in case you were wondering about that, I want to make sure you have that answer, that information, so you know what to expect. Okay, I'm going back to my Facebook page, making sure I'm not missing any comments. And I'm so thankful for all of you who are with me right now online. What day is it here? Sister Martha asked. It's Wednesday, it's Friday. It's Friday here. Right now it's Friday, almost 7 o'clock p.m. And thanks for everyone who said they are glad that I made it safely. Quite a few of you text that message to me, and I'm glad I made it safely. And again, I said it earlier on when I started this conversation. It was a smooth ride. I was able to make it here. I think the plane from Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, to here to Zimbabwe was a little late. It was about 20 minutes late, but I think that was because it was just so many people, and going through the process of getting to the plane, it was a little bit more time consuming than I would have anticipated. So that's what time it is here. Yes. All right. Any other questions right now? Let me say this about Soul Liberation Station. As I said earlier, we're going to continue to share Soul Liberation Station on Fridays, noon Eastern time, which will be 6 p.m. our time here. And so one of the key things I want to do with Soul Liberation Station is develop strong links between our people here in Zimbabwe and our people there. One of the reasons I was really looking forward to Brother Victor and Sister Grace, this is the husband and wife who hosted me and picked me up at the airport, because they are doing some awesome things. Sister Grace has a school that teaches students, I guess you could call it a vocational school, teaches students how to sew, teaching them how to grow, and there's some other things that they are teaching students, just very much having a great impact, but need support. So I'm hoping that those of you who have those vocational schools in America will want to partner with Sister Grace with what she's doing. And Brother Victor and Sister Grace own a great deal of property here in Zimbabwe, great deal compared to what you and I would own in America. But they have, some spaces for renters. They have a beautiful farm area on their property. They raise chickens and they sell eggs and do so many wonderful things that I'm hoping that those of you who are there can connect with those of us who are here and partner to get some really wonderful and powerful things done. And I'm seeing messages on here that I can't see on this phone, so I'm gonna come a little bit closer to you. Thank you, Sister Linda Everett says she's living vicariously through me. Well, I'm glad about it and honored to be that means by which you can do that. To speak it, pray on it. Let me read what she said. I think this is very positive. This again is Sister Linda Lewis Everett in Indianapolis. She says to speak it, pray on it, and do it. You are a true example of staying the course. I thank you for saying that. And actually, there have been many people who have said that to me, because most of you know I am acting out, I'm living a 10-year plan, which I publicly posted on Facebook 6 years ago. And so all of this that I'm doing now was in the plan 6 years ago. And I've shared things with y'all. I said I would get a doctorate degree 6 years ago, and I did get that degree. 2 years ago is when I earned it. I said that I would publish more books, and I've done that. I said 3 books, but I've actually published of my own 4 new books by NDK. And there's some other things that I put in there that I said I would do, and as Sister Linda said, I planned about it and prayed about it and did the work, and now you see that you can plan and you can make things happen. And I don't want to consider myself super special. I really think and believe that God was with me the whole time, and I had to continue to go back to God just to check and make sure I'm on course. Is this? I just don't want to make up something I want to do and say, okay, God, get on board. It don't work that way. I need to make sure I was on board with God's plan. And so I was constantly looking for confirmations, and God would give me not just confirmations, but God would more increase the vision that I had. God enhanced the vision in ways I didn't anticipate in everything that I've done. I mean, God enhanced the vision. And I don't want to get anything in any case I'm super special. No, my God is something super special. And what God has done with me and is doing through me, God can do with you and through you. So, like Sister said, pray about it, plan about it, make it happen. Do the work, and it will be a reality. I see something else pop up here, but I'm too far away. All right, thank you. We're gonna make that happen, Sister Linda. All right, it is now 6:57 my time, 12:57 your time. What I want to do with these shows on Friday, I want to try to make this your lunch break. And again, it's Eastern time if it's noon. If you're in Chicago, then you're on Central Time, which would be 11 a.m. And each week, I'm going to be real intentional about bringing on guests who would really complement this vision to bridge the gap between our people here on the continent and those that are there in America. That's one of the key things we'll be focusing on doing. We want to really build some bridges, build some relationship with the African continent in very substantive ways, and make a change. There are schools here that can use your support, right? You can help fund the schools. There are businesses here that are trying to do powerful things, but they need help. They're trying to put solar panels in towns that need them, put wells in areas that don't have good drinking water, and just a whole bunch of things that are being done. That are not being done, rather, but with your partnership, we can make it happen. And again, I want to encourage you to strongly consider, continue to support what I'm doing. Anything you give will help enhance what we're doing in ways that will be profound. That means the ways in which we present, the technology we use to present. We want to make sure we have good internet resources. We want to make sure that nothing stands in the way of us sharing these times together with Soul Liberation Station. Now, I have coming up very soon the Agape United workshops or classes. I'll give you more information about that in the week to come. But we need to learn about love in a very profound way. And so I'm really just trying to get about 7 students each time I do the class. And I'm hoping that you will be one of the 7. This ideal of Black love, systematic agapism, I know it's hard to grasp for some of us, but I'm telling you it is what we need to save ourselves, especially in America. I'm telling you that systematic agapism can help you save your relationship. Systematic agapism can help you build your bridges between you and your children, or people you work with, or people in your church, or whatever the case may be. Systematic agapism can help cut the violence in our communities. Systematic agapism can increase the monies that we spend among Black-owned businesses. I mean, these are things that systematic agapism, Black love, can do. And it's all, again, based on the idea of shared values. We fall apart because we don't have the same values. And we don't have the same values because we all in different places, different minds, or because we don't love each other the ways that we should. If we love somebody, we should seek to have a sense of where they are and how it is that we can work together and move together so that our efforts are most effective. And so I don't want you to miss out on what we're talking about when I say I'm doing a class on systematic agapism, and I want to train some folks to be agape love coaches. There are people who are life coaches, and that's wonderful. But this approach to systematic agapism, agape love coach, I'm telling you, can really put you in a position to help heal others who are right there around you. We want to give you the tools to do that, and I'll be sharing more information in the weeks to come about those classes. I think that's everything, and I'm thankful. I have another question here from my brother Philip. Did you have a political aspiration in Africa? That's a good question. And the answer is an unequivocal no. I wasn't going. People ask me that question in America too, believe it or not. People in Zimbabwe, in Indianapolis, asked me if I thought about running. And even years ago, people in Chicago would ask me that question. I have no interest, desire, or anything to be in any political position at all. I'm willing to help support people who are working for our best interests and working to uplift Black folk and help them. But I don't want to be a politician. That's not my call or calling. And so I'm thankful for those who are politicians. I had a wonderful time sharing in lunch with one of our state representatives. And I don't think he'll mind me saying his name, Representative John Bartlett. That brother's always doing powerful Black things. And he's been state legislator for 20 years in Indianapolis. And I also support him, even from Zimbabwe and others. And I do encourage you to vote. As the time for vote comes up next week, please do vote and make your vote make sense. If you are in any way thinking about voting for anybody that supports Donald Trump, I would suggest you do a checkup from the neck up, because it just don't make no sense. All right, that's enough of that. I hope I answered that question for the bill. No, I don't have any intentions, desires, passion, ideals, thoughts, delusions about running for any political office anywhere, and that includes here on the continent of Africa. Thank y'all so much for sharing this time. And again, if you want to support, it's not too late. Believe me, I still can use, and let me say this, I didn't say this in my post over the last couple of weeks. I did earlier this week that I needed, it was something like $3,800. And I think I had $1,200 in hand at that time. And so I needed to make up the difference. And you all stepped in, and we really got, I'm gonna say we got either right there or 100, just about 100 close to it. But my original goal, and this is the goal that I set way back, even before we did the event in April, which was a wonderful event. My real goal, the total goal, was to raise or generate something like I want to say it was $30,000. It was very high. And then I narrowed that down to about 22,000, I think is what it was. And so we never got there. With the monies we raised in April, and those who have given over time, and the money that I've raised, the book publishing, all those kinds of things, have probably come to about half of what I wanted. So that I can come in here. I really wanted to come in and pay for a whole year's rent, just pay it all up front, or put it towards the house, rather than doing this monthly kind of thing, or paying for 3 months, which is one of those is going to be the reality. And I really want to have a good vehicle to get around in, so that I can move between Harare and Mutare and Africa University and other places that I anticipate I want to, share some time. As many of you know, I love to go to the oceanfront. In Indianapolis, I would need to drive all the way. The closest point to me, as far as my calculations, was Tybee Island in South Georgia, right there next to Savannah, Georgia. Well, here, that was a 12-hour drive. Now I'm only 5 hours from the ocean. Mutare, the city I'll be living in, is right on the border of Mozambique, and Mozambique is on the ocean front. So I'll be able to drive to Mozambique and see the ocean front in a lot less time than it would take me to drive all the way to South Georgia, to Savannah, Georgia. So I need a good car to do that. And I don't just go to the ocean, for vacation. That's part of how I energize myself. It's part of how I recuperate, how I spend Sabbath time. And that's another reason why I can do all the things I do, because I spend Sabbath time. I get up in the morning and I will go to the waterfront, at least 3 times a week, sometimes 5 or 6 times a week in the morning, get up on the waterfront just to talk to the Most High, to meditate, to pray, and to focus on what I've done wrong and what I need to do right and how I can do things better and all those kinds of things. That's how I stay cool and calm and collective and mellow, because I'm intentional about my Sabbath time. And I do try to eat right too. I don't eat a lot of salt and sugar if I can help it. And I try to eat as many fruits. And some of you may or may not know, spinach is actually my favorite food. So, I mean, that's where I'm at. And, you know, having a good vehicle will help in so many different ways. But if I got to get a hoopty to start off with, I'm gonna get a hoopty that can drive me at least to Mutare, and just go about my business and ask the Lord to give me traveling graces in my hoopty. If that's young, and so most everybody who know me know I've driven plenty of hoopties, so that ain't nothing new for me. All right, so that's what we are. If you want to give James Zale, use my phone number, and let me also say this: if you have WhatsApp. If you get the app that's called WhatsApp, you can call me, text me, and we can video chat just the same as using either your T-Mobile or all those other services there in the States. It don't cost anything, it's a free app. I will continue to converse and be present on Facebook Live, and we continue to share reports there. I do have a Patreon account now, and I'm gonna, bring that to light very soon, so that you can keep in touch with me via Patreon and see the things that I'm kind of just keep it personal. So just all the people on Patreon will see it, and I will continue to do the workshops. Right now, I'm doing the workshops for systematic agapism via Zoom, but I might change that, but consider some other services that might be better than what I'm using for Zoom as it relates to doing classes. And so I'll be sharing more information about that very soon. But it's really easy to reach me, and I will respond. And so, I'm kind of going on now. But thank you so much for sharing this time. Thank you so much for your prayers, your support, your encouragement, your love, your guidance, your input, your excitement about what the Most High is doing for me, your brother, here in Zimbabwe. And thank you for sharing this hour with me on Soul Liberation Station. And I will be back again with another edition of Soul Liberation Station next Friday, 12 noon Eastern Time, 11 a.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, 2. There are a number of different Greenwich Mean Times, so 2. That'll be 6 o'clock that time. Thanks again for sharing. I hope that you have a blessed evening. And again, let's continue to pull together. If we pull together, we'll rise together. I believe that with all my heart. And you all lifted my heart. Thank you so much. Peace and blessings. And for those of you with us on YouTube, thank you so much for sharing this time. And I hope to get this YouTube channel that much more supported and utilized. So if you have not if you've not become it's not called a member, but whatever that is for YouTube, do it. So that you would be a part of what we're doing. So join this YouTube station. I was trying to remember the word, but it's not coming to me. But thank you. You be blessed. Peace and blessings.